Motor skills have improved, fine and gross. He's able to shoot a basketball and make it in the hoop. He's able to hit a baseball with a bat, things that I never thought would be possible for him because the way that things manifested, he was not a sporty kid. They just weren't things he could do, and he can do them now, and that's so exciting. And Griffin turned about 5 years old. He began to display some really unusual behaviors. Incredible tantrums multiple times a day that I didn't see coming. I could never anticipate what was going to set him off. Anger that I didn't know where it was coming from, but it was intense. And there would be times when I'd be putting him to bed when I could look into his eyes and see nobody, no emotion. The things he would say, he didn't really care about us. He didn't want to be alive. Just didn't want to be here anymore. My 5-year-old. I don't know, he didn't relate well to other people at all. Didn't even relate well to me. He would let his face get so messy during meals, mess everywhere, on the floor, all the things. And he would just get up and move on and not even notice that it was there. Things that would bother other people, he did not notice or care, never. You know, he's 5, but it was worse. It was worse than a regular 5-year-old, and I wasn't sure what to do with that. And he just didn't relate to people socially, didn't know how to have friends, didn't really understand that that was a thing, would be terrified of other people at times if I wasn't right nearby. Just strange behavior. I had an occupational therapist take a look at him one time and say, this isn't normal. But he would get so upset even walking into her office that we could not continue. So some hard things and some things that I didn't know what to do with. The anger and just the dissatisfaction and the depression that he seemed to display got so bad that it was apparent to me that he wasn't really there anymore. As though he was missing from his body. I knew he must have been in there, but I could not find him. Or just not at the surface anymore. So we saw a lot of different doctors. We were in Orlando at the time, and so there were many doctors that we could choose from, that being in that area. I saw good doctors, holistic doctors, Eastern medicine doctors. We stuck with 3 or 4 of them at length, and nobody could really pinpoint what was going on with Griffin, and nothing really got better. We changed his diet. We did some therapies. We moved here a few years back, and this place was nearby. And so I came and brought him to Dr. Jessica after scoping the place out and coming for myself for a while. I said at one point, I would love to see what I can do for your son. And so I brought him in, and a blood test was the first thing that she did. She also examined him physically, and when the blood test came back, it was definitive that my son had what they call PANS or pandas, and that is typically resulting from a strep infection that makes it to the central nervous system. So he has strep in his brain, and it is affecting his very consciousness and who he is and how he behaves. And I guess that's who I've been hanging out with, strep and not Griffin. But she said I can help him. And so she also found some other things. He had retained his primitive reflexes, which were causing she thought, causing some other behaviors in him that were less pronounced. And so we started working on all of those things at once. Infections as well as the primitive reflexes all at the same time. He had an allergy to wheat, he had an allergy to egg. Both of them were relatively intense. And she said a lot of times that will heal over time with proper gut care. And so she gave us also a list of things to eat, things to avoid, in order to begin healing his gut, which was probably a really major player in his eating healthy journey. And pretty recently, he's able to eat eggs. And I have changed the breakfast routine. He can have up to 2 eggs a day. So that's opened the door to a lot of food that he couldn't have before. We've been coming and actively working hard on Griffin for a little over 2 years. And this has been a journey. It's not been easy and it's not been fast. I think even Dr. Jessica anticipated that it would go faster, but Griffin seems to have a lot of layers. And we've been working on neuro things to help that stuff get better. We've been working on protocols to help with the infections. She, of course, has been adjusting him. What I can say is that we have seen a lot of improvement over a long period of time. One of the first things I started to notice in a big way was how the Griffin I thought might be in there started to come out. He started to hug us again. He would look us in the eye. He would tell us that he loved us, and he stopped saying things like, "I don't want to be here," or "I don't belong in this family," or "I don't want to live anymore." He stopped saying those things, and I started to see my son come back, because I knew he was there the whole time. And I'm so glad I kept watching for him. His motor skills have improved fine and gross. He's able to shoot a basketball and make it in the hoop. He's able to hit a baseball with a bat, things that I never thought would be possible for him, because the way that things manifested, he was not a sporty kid. They just weren't things he could do, and he can do them now, and that's so exciting.